All right, good morning, everyone. JJ and Greg. Greg, you can get us started this morning.
Jeff, how you doing today?
Good, Greg. How are you?
Pretty good. No complaints. And you guys have had a couple of days off here. How valuable has it been to have a little bit of extra time in between games and this extra day you've talked about?
Yeah, we haven't been on the field yet, so I haven't really got to see us move around, but I would imagine our kids' bodies feel a lot better. And that's the hope anyway. I mean, Nick, our trainer, had a really good report back for us. There's a couple of guys we're still evaluating, but he said the kids are in really good spirits and excited about rehab and getting their bodies ready to go Saturday. And I know yesterday at our team meeting and just reviewing the game, everybody's in really good spirits and seem to enjoy having a day to themselves.
Was there anything that jumped out from the game review that we hadn't talked about as it was happening and unfolding in the aftermath there?
No, I don't know. It seems like a week ago now, because we've been working on Western Kentucky so much. I guess just our defensive effort. We turned the ball over 3 times. We had 3 terrible kick covers. We had a terrible punt cover. So we put our defense in, 5 really bad spots, and to only allow 23 points. How great they were in the red zone on defense. Probably is the thing that stood out to me the most. I'm not sure if we talked about that night or not, but I know that's jumped out at me from reviewing the game video.
You mentioned the scouting Western Kentucky component. Is that what you've done mostly with the extra time when you do some self-scouting, or are there other ways you use having that extra day to your advantage?
We always self-scout ourselves. We're really good on offense. So whenever you're really good on offense, there's glaring tendencies, which is why you're good on offense, because you've got some tendencies. So that's something we looked at. Defensively, we were always looking at ourselves to see, what's our blitz pattern and what are some things we're showing a lot of. Same on punt. We made a mistake in the game on some special teams on a couple of things that we've alerted ourselves to. So yeah, you're always doing that. So yeah.
What's the outlook for getting some of your injured guys back in the fold here, or getting some of the banged up guys closer to 100%? How much of a difference will we see this week?
I think there's a chance you'll see a couple more faces out there again. But there's things that come up that you just don't know during the week. We didn't know we were going to lose Rashad. And that was kind of a game that we didn't know we were going to pick up Trey Smith. That was kind of game decision. So, you never know in this business. We lost Mekhi last year in pregame. I don't remember what game that was, but so you think when you get them to the field for pregame, you're going to play them. So you never know, but we should be getting a few more bodies back this week.
And what's your reaction to right now being the #1 passing offense in college football? Did you envision or think you guys had this kind of potential for this group?
Yeah, we had kind of prepared for that all off season. We've got, we lost Mekhi, but other than that, we've had the same center, the same guards, the same tight end, same 3 receivers. Brendan's been the 2 deep. Frank, those guys have all played together for 3. Those have been my guys, right? I mean, since I've been here, that's my offense. So we lost Spencer at left tackle. We lost Leroy, who rotated with Oscar. And obviously we lost Sincere, but that's a lot of players playing together for a long time in the exact same system, exact same verbiage. So you would expect just time on task, familiarity, talent, playing a lot of big games together that we should have picked up right where we left off.
It's interesting to look at it statistically that you guys have done it with less deep passing than last year. How have you guys been able to get the short game to work so well?
It's been more of a necessity just because of our offensive line to protect our tackles. There's another thing that I think jumped out. Vinley played incredibly well at left tackle. And Frankie played well too. But, Vinley had like a super, super game. He was a player of the game. Kevin Davis at right guard, our center, Maka, all those guys were Triangle Toughness T-shirt winners this week, as was Oscar, our 3 receivers, our quarterback, Brendan Brady, Trey Smith. That was and defensively, the pick Trevor had to seal the game. It was unfortunate that thing did not stand.
To your point with the quick passing game, Frank's gotten the ball out of his hands exceptionally quickly. What does that say about him or about the offense?
He knows where he's going with the ball. I mean, he's just played a long time back there in the same system. So it was unfortunate we didn't get some hands down for him on one of our quicks. We regret the call we made, and we regret the execution. We put him in a bad spot there. But yeah, he gets it out quick, and you're going to see Western Kentucky do that too. I mean, I know Frank's. I think Reed's the number 4 quarterback in the country, and Frank's number 2, I believe, total offense production, something like that. They're scoring 44 points a game. I mean, what a great job Coach Helton's done there. I think it's 5 years now, and they just keep putting up stats offensively. He loses quarterbacks, loses coordinators, and they just keep rolling points out there. So it's going to be, if you like offense, be a heck of a game to come see Saturday at 5 o'clock.
And with Frank, it's record after record, week after week that he keeps setting. Have you guys talked about next year and the possibility for him coming back? Have there been any discussions around that at this point?
No, we haven't. We learned a lot last year. It became a huge distraction at the end of the year. Everybody's having to deal with it. But you had Tariq and Spencer that knew what they were going to do the entire time, and that was communicated. And Sincere, he changed his mind very late. We hope to give those kids, space, and we don't want to pressure them into that kind of stuff because all 3 receivers can come back and the quarterback can come back. So, it's a weird time in college football. And our culture pillar of the week is, win the day, and win to us is what's important now. And what's important now is Western Kentucky, right? So, the old deal, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And we're going to try our hardest, Greg, to just be right where our feet are. And we don't want to get caught blindsided, kind of like last year with Sincere. But at the same time, we don't want our kids feeling any kind of pressure to let us know something right now.
Getting into the Western Kentucky part of this, then, they've undergone a lot of change on the offensive side with a new coordinator and a new quarterback. How similar is the offense to what you faced last year?
Very. I mean, they get the ball out very fast. They're up tempo, a lot of schemes, a lot of stuff they do. They're exciting. I enjoy watching them. I steal stuff from them, all the time. I mean, they do a really good job, and I'm very impressed with what Coach Helton's done there and their offense. And defensively, they're really good too, though. That's what's not talked about. They're one of the better defenses as well.
Is Austin Reed similar to Bailey Zappi? Are they different types of players? How does it compare?
Bigger arm than Bailey. He's got a big arm now. He can really throw it, and it comes out quick. They did a good job finding him and getting him in there. And so, yeah, we have a lot of respect for his game. The receivers, I mean, they went and got a lot of transfers from Power 5 guys on defense. They're a pretty football team. And you talk about us being frustrated at our record and so close to it being so different. They're the exact same way. They're a couple plays away from being undefeated.
How much does facing them twice last season help now as you go through the process of preparing to face this offense again?
I think it helps both teams, the familiarity. I've stated this. I don't know that we beat them last year. We don't have 45,000 in the Alamo Dome. Can we get 45,000 back this week? I don't know. I hope so. We're going to need everybody in San Antonio to show up at 5 o'clock Saturday. It's going to be we need that. We need as many pre-snap penalties as we can get. And I think it had a huge impact on us in Texas. Their fan base was very instrumental in them flipping that momentum on us.
From a coaching and schematic standpoint, is it more advantageous for the defense to be able to adjust to what they're doing, or does it work the other way around as well, where they can adjust to some of the things they've seen from you guys?
It's always that fine line when you're coaching, you hate to change too much because you don't want your kids confused. But at the same time, you got to tip your hat because the other guy's coaching too.
In just a few minutes here, the PM group is having an event. I think they said about 20 of your guys are going to be there for an NIL arrangement for your team. How impactful do you expect that arrangement to be based on what you know about it at this point?
I don't know a ton. I just know that that's something that that Bob Wills reached out about, and something he's really excited about San Antonio, and he wants to give back. And he thinks it's a great opportunity to, showcase our kids. And, it can be a win-win for both sides. So the more that we can get going in the city, it's going to be huge for us. And I hope our kids are grateful, appreciative, give back, and do what they've always done. The more that our boosters get to know our players, the more they're going to want to help our players. And if we want to stay in big time football, that's the new game right now. And we've got some really good players. They're going to have a lot of options when this year's up. So I know they love playing here. They love the city. And I'm very grateful for the PM group and the 2-0 inspired Runners Rising. There's so many people that just continue to reach out and help our kids. And it's exciting time right now. And we understand our responsibility. We've got to keep playing good football and make it exciting for everybody. But every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. And we want to keep our players here in San Antonio.
Getting back to some of the stuff you mentioned from Middle Tennessee, you talked about Bentley. The offensive line in general seemed to be improved or to hold up pretty well in that matchup. What jumped out about the play up front overall? How
we ran the football when everybody in the building knew we were fixing to hand it off. And we've got pass plays. Y'all seen them, 4th and 1, too many times this year. It's just nice to know we ran the ball, 4-minute offense, and sealed the game. And that's just such a comforting feeling. And I'm happy for my offensive line, my tight ends, our running backs, our quarterback, our receivers, all of them, that we finally, it's one thing to talk about the triangle toughness, but when you don't run the ball well, and that's part of it, you feel kind of hypocritical.
How much did that success on the ground come to wearing them down? Did you notice a difference as the game went on, and even in other games this year, that if you can have a certain number of carries, it starts to open up?
Yeah, I've said that a million times before. Those 1-yard runs in the first quarter become 2-yard runs in the second quarter. They become 3-yard runs in the third quarter, and most of the time they become 4 or more in the fourth. So it's a balance because you want to keep scoring early to stay in the game. But that first 3rd and 1 really left a bad taste in our mouth where we did not pick that up, and we got split on the backside of inside zone, and we only worked that stunt, all week 100 times, and that's frustrating. And but I'm the coach, and that's on me. So we got it cleaned up, we got it fixed, and the rest of the game we were a lot better at it.
You used Chris Carpenter in the backfield at least on one snap in this game and gave him a handoff. What kind of advantages does that present to you? How much might we see that going forward?
He's just really fast. I mean, he has elite speed, and it's just a good changeup for us. There's a few more plays he was out there. The ball could have gone to him. It just didn't happen to. But we've got some more stuff with Chris. And anytime a player has talent and they show us they can make a play, we're going to try to find some way to get him the ball.
I think one of the primary negatives from this game and from this season, at least Pro Football Focus has you guys next to last in the country in tackling. How do you evaluate your group's tackling so far this season?
You always want to get better at that. We look at that stat a little differently. We're very aggressive on defense in the way we coach. And we look at how many yards, after the missed tackle. Because a lot of times, like here's a good example, like on that punt where Lucas hit it like 60 yards and Xavier Spencer ran down there, and it's charted as a missed tackle. But he cut the face off, made the kid go back to the sideline, and we made the tackle on the sideline. That's a hard tackle in the open field like that, right? So we're not going – defensive linemen, every time they miss a quarterback, that's a missed tackle. Well, I mean, come on now. A defensive lineman trying to tackle a quarterback, that's a pretty hard deal, right? So, yes, we pay attention to stuff. We do. But, a lot of those stats are extremely misleading. So I look at this. We gave up 23 points. We were unbelievable in the red zone. I'm more disappointed we didn't cause a turnover. Nobody likes to see missed tackles, but we are just extremely physical. We play a certain style of defense, and I'm not saying we're ignoring that stat, but we're not paying near as much attention to it as the media and social media is right now.
So you said you look more at like the yards after first contact. How are you guys doing in that metric then compared to previous seasons from what you've seen?
We're right where we were last year. I mean, statistically, as far as that, and we look at what we have for our missed tackles, and then obviously we always compare what PFF might have to see what's different between our stats and their stats. And but there are some stats that from that are real, and there's some that we think are very misleading.
You mentioned that you're always trying to improve that area regardless. How do you go about doing that within a season? It feels like a tough thing to do because you're probably never live right once the season starts.
You're talking about as far as tackling? No, but you got drill work. You look at the type of tackle the kid misses. Is it an open field tackle? Is it a sideline tackle? Is it just he got run over? Is it poor technique? I mean, what is that? So you try to put that kid in that position as much as you possibly can without doing it live. You bring high jump pits out there, and you tackle kids into high jump pits so they don't land on the ground per se. You just try to do as much drill work as possible because you just to say a missed tackle is such a broad. If I just said, "Hey, Greg, that was a bad article," I mean, I would imagine in your world in journalism, there's probably some specific things y'all look at to grade yourself on an article being good or not. So just to say it's a missed tackle, there's a lot of different tackles, right? Everybody's so because we all are just whatever the media says, whoever the talking head is what people are going to hear. There's very, very few times you get to form tackle somebody where you nose at the ball, club up, grab cloth. That tackle might happen for a linebacker a few times a game. Most tackles are just getting a dude to the ground, hanging onto a jersey, clipping a foot. I mean, running him out of bounds. I mean, whack tackle. So our big deal is, do we take the proper angle? And if we do miss, are we turning him back to our defense? And how much pursuit do we have running down? I mean, like, for example, one of those stats in the game going to have Traylor missing the tackle, which he did. He turned the guy back in, and 340-pound Joe Evans just destroyed that kid for no more yards, right? So we were very aggressive on our tackle, turned him back, and Big Joe, smoked him. So if they'd have gained 7 more yards on that, we would have considered that a really bad missed tackle. But if we're turning them back to our defensive effort and we're physical, we're not going to say anything to our kids about that.
I know like gang tackling is probably an emphasis for every defense, but when you have that kind of aggressive approach with the first guy, do you put more on that pursuit and that rally into the ball than other defenses might?
I know this. Every team we play against, every coach says the same thing. What in the heck do you do to make your kids play so hard on defense? And I believe us cutting the face and running the football is what makes us different. I understand that fans want to shut out every week and we want to win every game. We do too. But there's a certain style we believe in, and we're not pleased exactly with where we are, but we're also getting better each week. That was our best defensive game we played this year against a team that just went into Miami and beat Miami. And we gave up 23 points. And we had 3 turnovers. And we had 3 terrible kickoff coverages. And we had a bad punt. You can't do much worse for your defense. And they gave up 23 points.
You've mentioned the kickoff coverage a couple of times. Are there things you kind of can change or tweak to adjust that? Or how do you approach that part of it going forward?
I don't want to make a soft bet for our kids, but we just, against Houston, we were fantastic at it. And we're starting to get some of those kids back. We've had a ton of injuries on that team, and it's starting to take its toll on us. We're just getting really thin. I understand it sounds like excuses, but Kyle Wakefield that was a huge deal for Kyle. He played really well in that game, had a bunch of tackles. So we were excited to see that. We got to have other guys go down there and make some plays for us on the kickoff team.
Got it. Thanks, Jeff. Good deal.
Great. Thank you. God bless. Birds up.
Thanks, everyone.